And in today's episode, among other things, you'll see how. Japan is slowly being replaced, and that's happening because of machines. And Elon Musk's solution has put the world on alert. McDonald's already has robots serving customers, and this could be just the beginning, my friends. Scientists are creating clothing made with high-tech fibers that can increase our strength. Mind-controlled robots are already a reality and have been helping people with limitations. Why did the guy fire all the employees linked to OpenAI? And now they're moving forward with a new artificial intelligence in their humanoid robots. Let's understand all of this and a few more things about other technologies.
Olá, impressionado e impressionada.
I'm Carlos Salves, and you're watching Realidad Impresionante. There is a country in the world that could soon disappear. Not because of war or a natural disaster, but because of something much quieter. Time. Japan is aging fast, way too fast. Today, almost a third of Japan's population is already over 65 years old, and at the same time, fewer children are being born each year. And this creates a chain reaction that threatens the entire structure of the country. Fewer workers, less production, and more people depending on care. It was in this scenario that Elon Musk made a statement that caught the attention of the whole world. He said that Japan could simply cease to exist if it doesn't solve its population decline. But what's most interesting is that Elon Musk isn't just observing this problem. According to him, he's already building the solution. And this solution has a human form, but it's not human. It's Tesla's humanoid robot known as Opal. It wasn't created just as a technological innovation. It was specifically designed to replace people in essential tasks, repetitive work in factories, domestic services, and even elderly care. And this is not by chance, it's not a coincidence. Japan today is perhaps the only country in the world that really needs this on a large scale. With fewer young people entering the job market, companies are already facing difficulties maintaining their operations. And in the healthcare sector, the situation is even more critical. There is a growing shortage of caregivers for an increasingly elderly population. This is where everything connects. While humanoid robots are evolving to take on human roles, another technology is paving the way for this to work anywhere. It's Elon Musk's Starlink. Japan was actually one of the first countries in Asia to adopt this satellite internet network on a large scale. In remote regions, on ships, and even providing support in disaster situations, Starlink is already creating an infrastructure where communication and connection never fail. And this goes way beyond the internet, all right? It means that automated systems, artificial intelligence, and even robots can operate in real time while staying connected anywhere in the country. Now add one more piece to this puzzle, Panasonic. The Japanese company is one of Tesla's main battery suppliers and is directly involved in the production of the new 4680 cells, a technology that promises to be more efficient, give robots more autonomy, and cost less. In other words, while Japan is facing a population crisis, it is also becoming a central part of the infrastructure that will support a new kind of society. A society where machines will be working, moving, communicating, and probably even taking care of some people. And when you put all this together, the picture starts to become a little clearer. We're not just seeing a country solving a demographic problem. What we're seeing is the first major test of a world where human beings will no longer be the foundation of the economy. So, do you think robots are really the only solution for countries with an aging population, like Japan, for example? Or is all of this too dangerous? While you open the comment section here, help me out by leaving a comment. I know you always do that, right? Your response here is interesting, okay? It's really important for us. I'll bring up the next story. Focus on it now. Researchers from Relo Robot in partnership with Carnegie Mellon University have developed a system that allows people with tetraplegia to control a robot using brain and muscle signals. This is done without surgery or implants, just with external sensors. The system works by combining both. On one hand, electromyography sensors capture the electrical signals from the muscles, even those that can no longer move. On the other hand, there's an EEG device. This one reads brain activity directly from the scalp, and artificial intelligence interprets these signals as commands. In practice, the user thinks and the robot executes. During the tests in a home environment, people were able to ask the robot to fetch water, pick up objects, and even perform daily tasks. All of this using a robot called Stretch, which is designed specifically to handle a real home environment, which we know is full of variations and unpredictability. And that's what's most important. Because unlike other solutions that are even more advanced, but on the other hand, require surgeries, like Neuralink, for example, this system is accessible, much simpler to use, and much less invasive. And this changes the picture completely because it stops being experimental technology and starts moving into real-world use, especially for people who have lost mobility. But what comes after this is even bigger. If today it's already possible to control a robotic arm just with thought, the next step is to expand this to a complete body, a humanoid robot, where a person could interact with the world through a machine. He could climb stairs, pick up objects, and even perform complete tasks. And of course, when this evolves and gets much better, physical limitations may stop being a definitive barrier for us humans. Because for the first time, the body is no longer the only way to act in the world. Here we see someone regaining autonomy through technology, and this makes it clear that this advancement is not just creating better machines. It's starting to redefine the human body itself. This directly relates to the next story. Before that, I want to share something important for those of you who like our channel. Last month, our performance dropped because YouTube said we had fewer monthly subscribers. So if you really like the content and want to support us, the best way right now is to subscribe and invite other people to do the same, to subscribe to our channel. Let's help everyone out, okay? Remind people here in the comments because some people forget. They watch all our videos. Every week there's a new video coming out, but they still haven't subscribed. If you're one of those people, scroll down a little, take a look, and check if you're subscribed, okay? Let me thank you in advance because I know you're always going to help me out, always supporting us. Take a look, all right? Thanks. Now let's continue. Exoskeleton technology is currently well-defined and has shown that these machines can expand human strength. But when it comes to their appearance, that might already be changing. Researchers in Switzerland have developed artificial fibers that work like muscles, and they can be woven directly into clothing, as if the fabric itself had strength. These fibers can lift up to 200 times their own weight, and even so, they remain light, silent, and even washable. Yes, you can put them in the washing machine. The secret is inside the fibers themselves, because instead of large motors or compressors, they use an internal system that moves fluid through electric fields, all on a millimeter scale. In practice, each fiber works like a small autonomous hydraulic system, and when several of them are combined, the entire fabric gains the ability to generate force. But the most interesting thing isn't just the power, it's the shape. Because this completely eliminates one of the biggest problems of wearable robotics, which is rigidity. Instead of a heavy internal structure, you now have something flexible, discrete, and that adapts to the body. When this technology is ready for consumers, it could open the door to much more practical applications. Clothes that help people in rehabilitation, that reduce effort and physical work, or even that increase the natural strength of those wearing them for a long period. All that without looking like a machine or a cyborg. And maybe that's even an interesting point. The technology stops being something that draws attention to the person using it and becomes part of the clothing itself, almost invisibly. And when that evolves, my friends, the difference between natural strength and assisted strength can start to disappear pretty quickly. Because for the first time, it won't be necessary to use a machine to become stronger anymore. You'll just need to put on a superhero suit. How ridiculous is that? But while some technologies are being created to integrate with humans, others are being developed with a very different goal: to completely replace us. And there's a race happening right now to decide who will get there first. And now, let me give you an important message that helps the channel financially. And right after that, I'll get right back to the episode. Let's go. Let me tell you some news that I truly believe will add a lot of value for you. Do you remember Aria, the AI that I've been announcing here on the channel for quite some time? Well, now the folks at Genesis have offered a 15-day free trial, okay? You don't need to use a credit card or any other payment method to register. It's really simple. Just use the link in the description or pinned comment, or scan the QR code on your screen. You go straight to the sign-up page and you can use our AI for half a month. Did you hear that? Half a month with full access. Do you know why they gave this 15-day free access that no one else offers? Because they trust the product they have. They know that once you try it, you'll grow and want to use it indefinitely. Remember, with Aria, you get access to the best AI models on the market. GPT, Gemini, GypsyX, and many others. Go check the pinned comment and see all the AIs available for you. And it's completely free for 15 days. Only for those who use my coupon, okay? The link's in the description. Realidade Impressionante achieved this, so help us since I'm always helping you. Help me and I'll help you. Believe it or not, a lot of people who watch our videos showing humanoid robots still ask this question here. That's right, but does this technology work outside labs? Now, a company called Ajabot decided to put this to a direct practical test. They launched a global challenge with more than $500,000 in prizes. And their goal is pretty simple, quote unquote. Okay? To have robots deal with the real world. No controlled environments, no perfect demonstrations. Their idea is to put these machines to work on everyday tasks. Things like organizing shelves, sorting objects, and even cooking. Yes, cooking, my friends. The challenge is divided into two parts. The first one focuses on action. The robots need to perform physical tasks using artificial intelligence, dealing with unpredictable situations. The second part goes deeper. It tests whether the AI really understands the physical world or just reacts to it. In other words, it's not enough to just work. The robot needs to understand what's happening. And this touches on one of the biggest problems in robotics today, the difference between simulation and reality. Because many systems work perfectly on the computer, but they fail miserably when they face the real world. And that's exactly what this challenge aims to expose. But maybe the most interesting point isn't the competition itself. It's the access. Ajabot is releasing the tools, models, and even the hardware. In other words, the robots can be used by developers, universities, and independent teams. Something that is usually restricted only to big companies. This creates more opportunities for people to join and speed up progress. Ultimately, it's not just about winning a prize or money. It's about addressing one of this moment's fundamental questions. Are these robots really ready for the real world? Or are they still just well-made demonstrations in the lab? And the answer to this question could redefine everything that comes next. Many companies are investing heavily to answer it quickly. Let's take a look. In a recent interview, Brett Lecoq, the CEO of Figuri AI, revealed behind-the-scenes details that show the transition from digital to the physical world. And maybe the most unexpected point was the relationship with OpenAI. The partnership between these two companies ended abruptly. And according to him, the Figuri team started advancing much faster when it came to making artificial intelligence work in real robots. Because there's a huge difference between simulation and the physical world. With a real robot, everything can fail: motors, sensors, communication. And that requires constant testing, something that can't always match the speed of big laboratories. From there, Figuri decided to go solo and started developing its own system capable of integrating speech, reasoning, and action in the same model. But the most interesting thing isn't just in the artificial intelligence. It's in the physical behavior of these robots. If a robot loses a joint, it doesn't stop. It adapts, blocks the damaged part, and keeps moving until it reaches a repair area. And it does all this without any help from a human. It's as if it has, quote-unquote, a basic survival instinct. But when it comes to the real world, especially inside a house, the situation changes completely. According to the CEO himself, these environments are still way too unpredictable. And that's why he himself admits that he still doesn't feel comfortable letting his robots roam freely around children. In other words, despite the progress, the technology still has its limits. Even so, production is already ramping up, and the goal is to scale this up to thousands of units. But with an important change, instead of programming each action, the robots now learn as a single system. They receive new skills almost as if they were downloading them. And this is a drastic change, because they stop being fixed machines and now start to evolve over time. Brad Chadcock can indeed say that his robots are not ready yet. But there are already companies putting humanoid machines to work in human environments. Let's take a look. The Chinese company AI Unix has introduced a domestic robot that is capable of performing everyday tasks, such as preparing meals, cleaning spaces, and even organizing objects. In practice, it works as a complete system. It can wake up the user, prepare breakfast, and then move on to other household tasks, all in sequence. And this is important because it's no longer about isolated actions, but about continuous execution. The robot is about 1.60 meters tall, weighs around 80 kilograms, and uses a wheeled base. This increases stability and efficiency inside the house. In addition, it has cameras, sensors, microphones, and even LiDAR to understand the environment and interact with the people around it. Its robotic arms can precisely manipulate objects, handling both simple and delicate tasks. And this shows a very important advancement. Because homes, as we've mentioned before, are much more complex environments than factories. In our homes, everything is different. Objects vary, spaces change, and situations are unpredictable. And even so, these robots are already managing to operate in this scenario. Of course, there are still challenges: autonomy, costs, safety, and also reliability. These still need to improve, but the concept has already come off the drawing board, and that changes the perspective. Now, a domestic robot is not just being demonstrated, it's being tested in real tasks. And when this starts to work consistently, the idea of a smart home is no longer limited to a virtual assistant controlling lights and appliances around the house. It starts to involve machines that take care of daily tasks. Yes, my friends, it's fiction starting to become a concrete possibility, an impressive reality. And if you're one of those who think this is still far off, maybe it's time to take a closer look at your own routine. Because this change has already started, my friends, and it's happening in places where you've probably already been. It was almost always thought that customer service was one of the professions that wouldn't be threatened by the evolution of machines. It was believed to be irreplaceable, one of the last areas where technology would have difficulty entering. But that barrier may have just fallen. A McDonald's restaurant in Shanghai has started testing something we've always seen in science fiction: humanoid robots serving human customers, delivering orders, and interacting in real time. They are dressed in the brand's classic uniform. They stay behind the counter, greet people, assist with service, and even entertain those who are there. The children, they can't hide their curiosity. They keep running after small models of these robots that move around the restaurant. These robots were developed by Canon Robotics, a company specialized in service robots, and are part of a much larger movement that is beginning to reshape the service sector in China. Because unlike factories or warehouses, dealing with people has always been considered one of the greatest challenges of automation. And even so, that's already starting to change. Today, companies like Amazon, for example, already operate with more than 1 million robots, and about 75% of global deliveries already have some kind of automated assistance. And now, what's being tested is no longer just efficiency, it's public acceptance, how we are going to accept these machines. Are people in general, of course, ready to be served by machines? And more than that, what happens to millions of jobs when this kind of technology starts to scale up the way it seems to be happening? A recent study already points out that automation can make it harder for less qualified workers to move up professionally, greatly limiting opportunities and putting pressure on wages. In other words, here on Realidad Impresionante, we don't just talk about technology, science, and innovation. We talk about a structural change that is already happening and how it will impact the way our society works. If you like this episode, you know what to do, right? Leave a like, make sure you're subscribed, and comment below. You really help a lot when you do that. Are robots the only solution for countries with an aging population? Or is that a danger? Is there any other solution? Leave it below, okay? Thanks for staying with me. See you next time. Click one of the 2 suggestions on your screen. Bye-bye, my dear.